Are you tired of paying fees to access property records? Well, you're about to discover exactly how you can search Guadalupe County property records online for free starting today. Welcome to this explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a critical skill that real estate professionals, title examiners, and savvy homeowners use literally every single day: navigating local county government databases. We're going to completely bypass those annoying, costly third-party paywalls and learn the exact step-by-step methods to access public property data without spending a dime.
Because let's be honest, we've all been there, right? You type a property address into a search engine, you click on a really promising link, and just as you're about to see the owner's name or maybe the property value, boom, a giant paywall pops up demanding your credit card. It's incredibly frustrating to be charged for public information. But don't worry, you are in the exact right place. I'm going to give you a complete, absolutely free solution to finding exactly what you need.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We've got a really clear roadmap for today. We're going to start by understanding the basics of property records. Then we'll untangle a massive geographical mix-up between two different counties. After that, we'll walk through the specific search methods for Texas and New Mexico. Learn how to decode the results you find. And finally, we'll wrap up with some absolutely crucial privacy and legal guidelines you need to know.
So, starting right off with the foundation, the what and the why of our search.
Before we just start clicking randomly through databases, we really need to understand what we're looking at. Property records are basically the absolute bedrock of real estate knowledge. They reveal three major insights. First up, ownership history. So who actually owns the land and what liens or deeds are attached to it. Second, value assessments, meaning how local governments calculate the market value of the land and any structures on it. And third, tax information, which tells you whether the property taxes are paid up or if they're delinquent. Relying on these official records means that buyers, sellers, and title examiners can verify hard facts without ever having to guess.
Now, here is a major plot twist.
And honestly, it's the biggest mistake beginners make right out of the gate.
If you just go online and search for Guadalupe County property records, you really have to know which one you were looking for. Because, surprise, there are two completely distinct Guadalupe counties in the United States. On one side, you've got Guadalupe County, Texas. This is a bustling, urbanized corridor with a pretty complex, highly automated system that's split across three independent departments. But on the other side, there's Guadalupe County, New Mexico, a beautiful rural landscape with a much smaller population and a more traditional, unified assessor, treasurer, and clerk system. Their database technologies and administrative frameworks are completely distinct from one another. You've got to target the correct jurisdiction, otherwise you're literally searching for a needle in the wrong haystack.
Let's zoom in on the Texas side of things first.
If your target property is in the Lone Star State, you need to know that the data is siloed across three totally separate portals. In Texas, the Guadalupe Appraisal District, usually just called GCAD, holds all the data from market values and tax exemptions. Then, the tax assessor collector is the one who calculates and collects the actual taxes. Finally, the county clerk is the official custodian of all the legally binding documents, like deeds, mortgages, and plats. It's so vital to know who holds what. Oh, and here's a quirky insider tip for you. Because the tax assessor collector also handles vehicle registrations on site, they actually halt all vehicle title transfers right at 4 p.m. daily at both their Seguin and Schertz offices. Definitely good to know if you're ever doing research in person.
Now, when you actually jump into that GCAD online portal, you'll find the search engine is, well, it's highly sensitive. I'm going to coach you through this so you avoid getting a frustrating blank page. Rule number 1. Omit street suffixes. Don't type lane or road, literally just put in the street name itself. Number 2, if you are searching by an owner's name, always enter the last name first, followed by the first name, and don't use any punctuation. But honestly, the absolute fastest method? That's step 3. Just use the unique property ID. It's an alphanumeric tracking number you can usually find on past tax bills, and it gets you straight to the result every time.
And this next part brilliantly illustrates how you can legally beat the system. When you need modern deeds from the Texas County Clerk, you're going to use their Rome platform. Now, while they do push their paid subscription tiers, they actually offer a completely free pay-as-you-go tier. This free tier is fantastic. It gives you unlimited indexing searches and a watermarked preview of the very first page of any recorded document. And guess what? That first page usually contains the grantor and grantee names, the legal description, and the document number. That's almost always all the information you actually need, meaning you don't have to pay a single cent for an official copy.
All right, let's pack our bags and head west to explore the New Mexico system.
Over in New Mexico, the system is a bit less automated because of the smaller population, but it is highly structured and incredibly reliable once you figure out how their calendar works.
Responsibilities are divided here too, but they follow a very strict statutory timeline. The assessor's office handles locating and valuing the property, which relies heavily on owners submitting a declaration of property classification by the very last day of February. Then, by October 1st, the assessor hands the finalized tax roll over to the treasurer's office. The treasurer then takes the baton and mails out the actual tax bills by November 1st. Meanwhile, the county clerk, who is famously located right on historic Route 66 in Santa Rosa, handles all the deeds and probate recordings.
Now, because New Mexico's direct county portals are a bit leaner, you'll definitely want to lean on some free supplementary third-party databases. These are absolute game changers. The Acres GIS map portal is amazing. It hosts thousands of active parcel boundaries and even overlays soil composition maps. Then you've got the Regrid property tool, which gives you a really smooth, interactive parcel map interface. And if you're out doing field research, the Parcel Vision app is incredible. It literally lets you overlay parcel lines directly onto the physical land using your smartphone's GPS and camera. These are just fantastic free tools to help you visualize the New Mexico landscape.
Okay, so you've run your search and you're staring at a screen full of data. How do we make sense of it all?
Let's decode some of the specific terminology you're going to encounter, specifically in Texas. If you're in the Texas GCAD portal, you will constantly see these state land use codes. Let's demystify the most common ones right now so you can instantly read this data like a pro. A1 simply means it's a residential single-family home. A2 indicates a manufactured home and the land it sits on. C1 is the code for vacant residential or commercial lots. And F1 means it's real commercial property. Knowing these codes off the top of your head allows you to glance at a property record and immediately understand exactly how the state is categorizing and taxing that specific parcel.
Now check out this really interesting data point, $652. Based on indexed property data, this is the median annual property tax bill in Guadalupe County, New Mexico. I love highlighting this because it really shows the practical, real-world financial data you can uncover completely for free. Just for some perspective, that median tax bill jumps up to $802 if you're looking at property specifically inside the city limits of Santa Rosa. By utilizing these online portals, you're gaining incredible visibility into the true cost of owning land in these areas.
Before we wrap up this explainer, we absolutely have to discuss privacy and the legal boundaries of this research.
There are responsibilities and risks that every property researcher needs to navigate carefully. The number one pitfall, and this traps so many beginners, is failing to understand what we call the recording lag. Here's how it works. A deed becomes legally binding the very moment it's recorded with the county clerk. However, it can take several weeks for that paperwork to be processed and for the appraisal district's online portal to actually update. So if you only check the appraisal website, you might be looking at the previous owner's name and completely miss a recent sale or a newly recorded dispute. Always cross-reference with the clerk's index.
Another crucial concept is understanding the absolute limits of digital maps. We all love clicking around on GIS maps. They're super fun, but they can and do have alignment errors. They're essentially just layering coordinates over aerial photographs. The only true, legally binding boundary of a property is the meets and bounds description. That's the written legal description actually found inside the recorded deed. So if there is ever a dispute with a neighbor or a question about an easement, remember, the written deed always overrides the digital map. Every single time.
And that leads us perfectly into the county's official disclaimer. The county explicitly states that while they offer these convenient digital tools, the original paper records may differ from what you see online, and you assume all risks when using their applications. So, while you now possess the skills to do some seriously high-level preliminary research for free, always remember to consult with title professionals, legal counsel, or professional land surveyors for specific, legally binding real estate transactions.
And there you have it. You now have the exact roadmap to confidently navigate the property databases of both Guadalupe County, Texas and Guadalupe County, New Mexico without hitting a single paywall. So I have to ask you, what property mysteries are you going to uncover first? Are you tracking down an old family deed? Or maybe you're researching a vacant lot for a potential investment? Jump down into the comments and share your experiences. I would absolutely love to read them. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Now get out there and put these new skills to work.